Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine Simone, and welcome to West Soul by Jasmine. So for today's story time, I am actually going to talk about birth control and my personal experience with birth control. So start off, the reason why I got birth control was because I was sexually active in my senior year of high school, and my mom was like, you need to make an appointment with the local clinic, which at that time, I don't know if they currently do this, they provided free birth control, which is a blessing because birth control is expensive, as I'm finding out. But yeah, I went to my local clinic and I got birth control because I was sexually active in high school and I didn't want to end up pregnant because it was my senior year and I was planning on going to college at that time. And it was just the right decision to make. So it was January, and I think around it was 5 days after my birthday, 5 or 10 days after my birthday. And I booked an appointment, and my first birth control that I actually got was the Depo shot. And if you don't know, that is the birth control shot that is in your arm, and it lasts for 3 months. So my experience with that was it kind of was similar to the peanut butter shot that you get in the military right before you ship off to basic and arrive at your actual basic training company. But I kind of didn't, it wasn't bad. It was just thick in my arm and I had to constantly rub it for the next 3 days. And it wasn't bad, but I gained weight. And I gained 9 pounds by the time it was due for me to get my next dosage. And I was like, oh yeah, this is not for me. I can't handle gaining weight anymore. And by the time that I made that decision, it was due to the fact that I was considering the possibility of joining the military, and I didn't want to gain too much weight because I wanted to pass height and weight to actually get into the service. So I started looking at other birth control options. I knew I wasn't going to be consistent with taking pills, and like I said, I was sexually active with my partner, and I was like, you know what, I've heard some things about the implant in the arm, Nexplanon, and I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, and I've heard from my friends who were also in high school and one of my cousins that it was amazing, and it stays in there for 3 years, and they have another option that stays in for 5 years. And I was like, you know what, that's perfect because I'm considering joining the Army, and that's basically your first contract. And me and my significant other at the time, we were thinking about getting really serious, and he was going to follow me in the Army. So I was like, you know what, even if we do end up getting married, then it'll just be us for the next couple of years. Because, well, side note, it was going on 2 years at that time. So it wasn't it was just some random thing. We've been together for a while. So that's why I really considered it on top of that, because that would have been a good relationship choice for us at that time. So leading up to it, I did not get Depo for my second round of birth control. And I'm so glad, because after that, that's when a lot of Facebook posts started coming up yeah, Depo is not really healthy for African American women, and it makes African American women and other ethnicities blow up, and it's really not good. But also you should take into consideration that birth control affects everyone differently. It just so happens that Depo, that specific birth control, really affects African American women negatively. So leading on to, this is 2015, by the way, April 2015, I get the Nexplanon implanted in my arm by the same clinic out in my hometown, and it was free. I did not have to pay anything for it. So how it happens is you go in there, you tell them, we set up an appointment, because at this specific clinic, you could not get Nexplanon done on any other day. It was only designated for Thursdays because there was this one provider, or this one doctor, I'm speaking in Army terms, this one doctor who only had the eligibility to perform this type of surgery, because it kind of is a surgery because they numb your arm and stuff. So I had to set up an appointment, and I go in April, and they numb your arm, you take a pregnancy test, they block off where they're going to insert you, and this is my entry wound. I wonder if you can see that. But yeah, that's where the little gadget was pressed up to my arm. She touches it. She's like, can you feel that? Can you feel that? And I was like, no. So she grabs a little piece of fat, and then with the applicator, I'm going to call it, she grabs the fat and inserts it. And then she touches it and stuff like that to see that it isn't too deep and it isn't too close to the surface. And I was good to go. In all, my total experience with Nexplanon was amazing. I never got pregnant. My period wasn't bad. I didn't feel any mental issues or complications until actually it was time for me to take out the birth control. So fast forward to the end of my first contract, April 2018, and well, no, scratch that. Fast forward to about February 2018, and I started to notice that my emotions were like going up and down. I was having issues talking and getting a handle on my emotions. And in the military, if you do not know, you have to be on top of your emotions, your attitude, and yourself personally and emotionally. You just have to be aware, because being in the military is tough, and you have to be physically present with what's going on with yourself so that you don't have like any problems. Y'all, when I tell you, I was around there about to cry because one of my NCOs, he was talking to me sternly, and I was like, what is going on? Because I'm a bad bitch, and none of these NCOs like really scare me. Like, I shouldn't be like feeling like this. I shouldn't be feeling like I'm about to break down and cry, like I'm a weak person or something like that. So, side note, my best friend, she had Nexplanon, and a couple months before this February, she was supposed to get hers out and replaced. And that's when she was telling me about, staying on top of when it's supposed to be replaced, because, you can end up pregnant at the end, close to the end of the time you're supposed to get it replaced or taken out completely, because your medicine for Nexplanon is going to be running out. So I finally figured out that may be it, because I was in a relationship. I was happy, healthy. I was having a good time, but my mental health, I felt like was... So like I was saying, my experience with Nexplanon wasn't bad, but I was just ready to get it out, because now I was actually aware that it was having an effect on my mental health. And I was not okay with that, because I'm in a stressful job that I have to be on top of and be present and ready to get things done. So I called my provider and I was like, next month I'm supposed to get this taken out, but I need to get it taken out right now, which is, I think it was the beginning of March. And they were like, okay, we'll schedule an appointment, and we just need to make sure this provider has the eligibility to take this out, because I think at that time in my brigade there was only one doctor who actually had the ability to do a procedure like this. Like, nobody else had the ability to do it, so I had to wait for an opening from him. Yep, that's exactly what happened. So they were like, okay, you can come in, and I did that. and he was like, all right, so are you thinking about replacing this birth control, getting another form of birth control? And I was like, you know what, I'm good, bro, because that kind of scared me that the birth control had such a heavy and nasty effect on me like that, and I wasn't used to anything like that. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'm good, bro. I'm gonna just wait it out, let it completely run its course out of my system. I'm gonna take a break from birth control. I'm gonna just relax and live my life and just be slightly carefree. And y'all ended up pregnant like April, May, June, July. Ended up pregnant 3 months later. But that's okay, because I love my baby and me and my husband love our relationship. So it is what it is. You might say I low-key planned it, but you know, I think I just went like a little reckless, just because my hormones were trying to reset. So everything was fluctuating and just had to get stable. But by the time they were getting stable, I got pregnant. But yeah, let me see what else might help somebody who wants to know about Nexplanon. I didn't have a heavy period. I had a regular period and only stayed on for 3 or 4 days. I didn't have any mood swings during that time. My Nexplanon did not move. It stayed right here where it was implanted for 3 years, literally. The only thing was that after I joined the army, like, I bulked up in arm mass and muscle. So the muscle and fat like grew around it, but it still wasn't hard for them to be able to access the implant when it was time to be removed. I know there are horror stories about Nexplanon and it moving and traveling through other women's systems and stuff like that. Like, I was low-key scared when I saw like horror stories about that. I can just say that I am honestly blessed that never happened to me. But don't let this discourage you from receiving birth control, because I feel like if you want to do birth control, just look at the different options and figure out what will work for you. If you have any questions about my experience with Nexplanon or birth control in general, then let me know, because obviously I've been through it, so I can help you out. Until next time, y'all, come back to my channel as told by Jasmine.